Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at this 2022 Honda Civic Si. Just like the regular Civic, the Civic Si is all new for 2022. This is the mid-tier performance variant of the Civic, positioned between the regular Civic and the high-performance Civic Type R. As far as performance-oriented compact cars go, the Civic Si keeps it pretty conservative, and that's really always been the case. This one here uses the same 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder as the previous generation Civic Si. In this case, it makes 200 horsepower and 192 pounds-feet of torque and is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. As in years past, no automatic option is available. So let's do a little tour here of all the Si specific things on the new Honda Civic Si and then take it out for a little drive. As it's always been, styling of the Civic Si is pretty conservative, especially relative to some competitors like, say, the Subaru WRX. Up front, there's an Si badge. That should be pretty familiar. Chrome Honda emblem, and then matte black plastic around the headlights there. Headlight design, once again, pretty conservative. The car has a little bit of a nose on it. We're seeing a similar design element from some modern-day Lexus products as well. I wonder if this styling cue is going to pop up on more new vehicles going forward. We do have some fog lights down below, and then kind of a trapezoidal shaped mesh there in front of the radiator. Moving down the side, so according to the window sticker, this one has the HPT or high performance tire package, but that is supposed to come with summer tires, and you'll notice these tires say all season on the side. They are Goodyear Eagle Sport tires wrapped around matte black 18-inch wheels. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on with these tires. Maybe they aren't the tires the vehicle was built with, but either way, all season tires on this one here. Moving down the side, you've got, well, black mirror caps, a sunroof, not a whole lot else. Around back, here's your badging. So it says Civic, your Honda emblem, and then Si right there, and then you'll notice a black spoiler on the trunk. I imagine they make them all black so that they don't have to paint individual spoilers to match several different body colors. You save some money if you just paint them all gloss black. As for the trunk, well, there you go. Same exact trunk as you get on a regular Civic, and space on par with the rest of the compact sedan segment. Here's the key. I really like Honda's key design. It's super small, so if you're gonna go for a run or go backpacking or whatever out of a Honda, the key is really lightweight and doesn't take up much space in your pocket. So you just have lock, unlock, push and hold to release the trunk, and then push and hold for panic. I think this is probably the smallest key on the market. Okay, now that we're inside, let's take a look at the window sticker so you can see this is a 2022 Honda Civic Si HPT, but again, we're not seeing high performance summer tires on this one, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But as equipped, this one comes in at $28,910 when you factor in a destination fee of $1,015. So this is about as much as you could expect to pay for a Civic Si, and overall that represents a pretty decent value given how high the average new car transaction price has climbed in recent years. I mean, this is a reliable, relatively conservative, but also fun and relatively efficient little performance car for well under $30,000 there. Speaking of efficiency, the EPA rates the 2022 Civic Si at 27 mpg city, 37 highway, and 31 combined. Let's go ahead and turn it on, put the clutch in. So the interior here is similar to what you'll find in any regular 2022 Civic. Differences include the grates. This is kind of the Civic's new fun design element. Well, it's really popping up in a lot of Hondas, but this mesh panel here behind which the air vents reside. So you've got 1, 2, 3 air vents. And they're on this kind of joystick here. But that's all the same as the regular Civic, but what's different is that it's outlined in red. So that frame there is red on the Si. The door panels have some red in them. Fabric seats. You only get fabric seats on the Civic Si, and that fabric transitions over onto the door panels, so it's it's a red and black checker pattern there, and then a red pinstripe around the switches there, and then red stitching on the armrest. Kind of a bummer that this armrest is even fabric. I imagine, yeah, just rubbing my arm on it there leaves a mark, but either way, gauge cluster is somewhat digital. So this is a mechanical gauge, and then this is a digital gauge. You can change some things in the digital gauge here. You press the home button, and then you can scroll through a few different things. One thing I couldn't find is an indicator for the gear that you're in, and that's especially frustrating because there's something odd going on with this shift lever. Overall, I love this manual transmission. It's really easy to operate. The throw length from this shifter is really good. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and I think that's sixth, and then reverse is all the way over and down. You can tell you're in reverse because the backup camera comes on. But I say I think this is sixth because you'll notice this shift lever is in a really weird position. There's all this space over here and then very little space to the left here. Like to go into first, you just go over a little bit and then up. And then to go into fifth though, pretty sure that's fifth. And the lever isn't even, it's barely halfway over to this side of the boot, to the frame here. And what I was thinking, and I confirmed my suspicions, this vehicle uses the same running gear as the previous generation Civic Si. And in the previous Civic Si, this center console featured the shifter right in the middle. And you can see here, it's kind of off center. They have the frame over to the right, and then they've got this panel here. And my thinking was that they needed to fit this panel somewhere, so their only choice was to move the shift, I don't know, frame, we'll call it, over to the side, despite the fact that the shift lever and everything underneath this center console positions the shift lever to the middle. And sure enough, if you Google an image of a 2020 Honda Civic, you'll see that the shifter and the frame around the shifter are positioned dead center on the center console. So Honda needed to fit this switch gear in. This is found in every modern Honda and Acura product. They needed a place to put it. They had to move the shift frame area off center in order to fit this here. And that just leaves us with weird positioning for the shifter. Its throws all pretty much take place like here and over. Like you don't use any of this. It's kind of odd, and it makes it especially difficult to tell whether you're in, say, third or fifth gear, or whether you're in third or first, because you can't tell just by looking at it. And then on top of that, I can't find a way put the gear you're in the gauge cluster. So that bit is a little bit confusing, a little bit frustrating, and kind of odd, frankly. But beyond that, love the transmission. Clutch pedal's really intuitive. Throws and everything are good, and the transmission behaves really well. This part's just weird. You can tell it's kind of thrown me for a loop given how long I've talked about it here. But beyond that, there's not much SI specific stuff to this interior. We might as well focus on the seats. I keep mentioning the Civic Si is a relatively conservative performance car, but kind of funny to find built-in headrests on these seats, because that's not a real conservative thing. Honda could have just stuck with regular Civic seats with some extra bolstering, but instead you get these kind of fun seats with the headrest built in. Of course, you can't adjust this headrest, but it does give the car kind of a fun look. And then you can see Si is embroidered into the seat back there. Let's go ahead and hop in the back seat. Electronic parking brake is on. And again, we get back here in my regular Civic review, but fabric seats, once again, they're kind of squishy. I don't think they'd wear as well as leather, and given that companies are using so much synthetic leather these days, I have to think the cost is probably about the same going from fabric to even synthetic leather. So I kind of wish we had even synthetic leather back here. I think it would wear a lot better, but either way, fabric seats in the Civic Si. You get a map pocket on the back of the passenger seat, nothing on the back of the driver's seat. Door panels are hard plastic, so they're hard plastic up there as well. So not the nicest door panels. And then there's a little bit of cushioning in that armrest there. And unfortunately, the back window switches are not one touch up and down. Up top, you get a light, overhead grab handles, and then a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders in it. That's about as much as we could ask for back here. Oh, one more thing. There is nothing on the back of the center console, so I take that back. We could very well ask for at least one USB-C port, or, well, this car only has USB-A, another drawback, but we could ask for some kind of port back here at the very least, let alone air vents, but nothing on the back of the center console here on the Civic Si. Okay, driving the 2022 Honda Civic Si. So this car does have a start-stop feature, and something I noticed the other day when I stalled it is the start-stop actually works in your favor when you stall the car. So I'm trying to stall the car on purpose and I can't. Start-stop turned the car back on despite the fact that I just stalled it. Let's see if we can do it again. So we'll come to a stop. Didn't put the clutch in. That time it did not. There we go. I didn't have to press the on-off button. It just restarted automatically. So there you go. A little hidden benefit. A lot of people don't like start-stop. I tend to find the system's kind of annoying, but in the case of a manual transmission, they can engineer a hidden and unexpected benefit into the start-stop functionality. Get a little wheel spin there. There's third gear. There's 50 miles per hour. That's about 60. Car's quoted at about 6.5 seconds, 0 to 60. So it's not super fast, but it is quick. It is fun to drive. There is a sport mode. You've got normal, individual, and sport mode. In individual, you can just adjust engine from normal and sport, and you can change steering from normal to sport. So really just 2 drive modes. Things do liven up a little bit in sport mode. It's fun to squirrel the tires on this car, even though it's not like a real screecher or anything. It's relatively conservative, but you can still drive it hard, and given how conservative it is, you can get away with driving it hard, which I think is a sweet spot for a car like this. Yeah, the transmission feels really good. The lever feels good. Other than not being able to tell visually what gear you're in, everything else about the transmission is pretty good. There's our first speed bump. We took it at about 18 miles per hour. There's no electronic component to these shock absorbers, so nothing real remarkable there. They are stiffer than on a regular Civic. That allows for better handling. Over those first 2 speed bumps there, things felt pretty good. Our final speed bump here is much bigger. We'll take it at 25 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour, and in third gear. The car feels relatively smooth still. Take second. There is a rev matching component to this transmission that I really love. I love that it starts itself up after you stall it, which you will inevitably do, at least if you're me. And then there's also a rev matching component. So we'll go third, and we'll go into speed up a little, and we'll go into second. And the car automatically blips the throttle, or throttle blips itself, to make sure that you're at the right RPM for going into second gear, which is especially nice when you're downshifting. Once again, I've forgotten where reverse is. Backup camera is not good. That's not something they updated with the Civic's redesign. Yeah, Honda and Toyota in particular tend to have really crummy backup cameras. But we can give the Civic Si a pass because this car is not really about tech, and it's still relatively affordable. Okay, parking brake is on, and we are in neutral. Clutch is coming off. So that is our look at the 2022 Honda Civic Si. And if you want to take a look, a greater, more in-depth look at the regular 2022 Civic, I've got a video on that vehicle. But as far as performance stuff goes here, I've said it multiple times, this car is pretty low-key. It's a little bit more mature than some of its competitors, like, say, the Subaru WRX or the Hyundai Elantra N. But I like that. I like that this car kind of flies under the radar. This one is bright orange. This exterior color, yeah, it's called Blaze Orange. But if you got one of these in white or gray, you could drive around and people wouldn't really know it's a performance car, but it's still fun to drive. It still has a really nice manual transmission. The handling is good. Acceleration isn't super fast, but it's quick. It sounds good. And overall, it's just a very approachable, conservative, economical, but fun little performance compact car. So that's our look at the new Honda Civic Si here. It's actually my first time driving one of these. They're certainly not head turners, but that's kind of the point. Thank you for watching.